Hi folks, welcome back to the Hoard. Got a beautiful day going on here, and let me show you what I'm up to. Some of you probably remember me buying that TRX200SX engine. Here's the details. Right, I got the motor, all the accessories. It was $275. Showed up well packaged, and there it is. Well, it turns out the person who sold it to me has an eBay store, and he's one of my subscribers. His name is Spencer Baker, and his store is Baker ATV and Cycle. It's an eBay store, and that's all the specifics on him. Now, he sold me this engine. And he gets to sweat a little bit, because how well does it run? Right? Put some gas in here. So, I just filled the tube with gas. Well, it's a smaller fire, should things go wrong. Cold start, right? I mean... And for spark, and let me just show you this quickly, because another area I'm asked questions. This box, right, it's got 12 volts in it. It's got a 12 volt GY6 CDI unit, and it has a spark coil, right, and obviously a switch and a holder to hold the batteries and some wire. That's all that's in the box. So, for this to be happy, for the CDI to be happy and send the spark to the spark coil and then to your engine, all it needs is a pulse from the engine. And the pulse shows up on this blue and white wire, and the reference is ground. So the green wire is ground, and the blue and white wire is the pulse. And I just throw this extra black wire, which is another ground, to make sure the head is nice and grounded so I can get a spark. The second ground wire really isn't necessary. So that's where my ignition is coming from. If you take a look at some of my old videos, you'll see a couple of different ways of building that box. Or you can build that box, or not only that box, but you can use one of these here. Just make sure it's a 12 volt DC GY6 ignition, and I normally like to buy them with the matching coil. That way I don't get any surprises. I rebuilt the carburetor. That's a 200S carburetor. The difference is the linkage for the choke. I put the throttle up here. And what I did is I put the engine in reverse, because to put it into reverse you got to kind of move this thing and press it down. So I figured I'd start it in reverse and then go to neutral and then go to forward, and then I could show you that the tranny works also. I got it tied up nicely here, but I lowered it down low enough, right? I don't want it swinging about and breaking the rope. So, given that nice long discussion, let's see if I can set up the camera. I'm trying to work on my camera work a little bit. Let's see if we can't actually show you guys how I do some of this stuff. My jump box obviously goes just to a metal piece here, so the negative of my battery goes to the case. Here's the positive, right? So all I have to do is turn on my jump box, and you'll see it goes around and around. I have to turn on my GY6 CDI, because once again, it's powered by the batteries inside of it. Choke is on. Really better not get these wires chewed up. That should be good. probably ran it out of gas already. No, it looks like there's still some gas in it. Could be my batteries are weak in the CDI box. I haven't changed them in like forever. So there we have it. She starts, she runs, it seems to shift. I don't see any oil dripping out of anywhere. You can see that it doesn't smoke. That little bit of spinning when it shuts off and all, that's the starter clutch. Hopefully after she runs a little while with a fresh oil change, that'll become a little happier. It's not bad, there's nothing wrong with it, but there's a little play there. So yeah, the only thing that takes away from this being a perfect engine is one of the exhaust studs is broken off. Other than that, it is an absolutely perfect engine. Well worth the money. $275 delivered right to the house. So if you take a look at the original, or probably even this one, Spencer will probably comment on this one too. He seems to be putting together a deal where he's recycling these things. Frequently I'm asked for stuff like plastic or pieces of ATVs or whatever. So I really don't part out anything, because my problem is what you guys need is what kind of everybody needs. It's the same stuff that goes bad on these things. I'll give you an example. This thing here is the spark advancer for a Honda 200S, 185, the 200 ES, and all of them. And a common problem, if you guys could see right there, there's a piece of wire kind of tying those two ends together. Where that wire is, there's normally a set of springs, and what happens is this thing is running. See this weight and this weight? You can picture them being thrown outward, which, you know, has a tendency to advance the thing, and when you go down at an idle, the springs pull it back in. So all you have to do if you need to put a set of springs in there is go from here to here or here to here. This one, the springs were rotten, they were gone. So for the Honda 200S, it has this as an advance, right? It's a mechanical advance. For this guy, there's no mechanical advance, so the advance is actually in the GY6 CDI. It's an electronic advance. And I've had some of these motors that, even though they're double advanced, not this motor, a Honda 200S motor, even though they're double advanced, so to speak, they have this advance and the GY6 advance. Some of them run pretty good, but some of them, the ones that are a little bit tighter, so to speak, less stretching the timing chain, sometimes when you gun them up, it's almost like the advance is too far out front. You kind of get a little bit, you can kind of hear a little chirpy, a little pingy sound, and so forth. So what I did, given that this one, that the springs were already rusted off, I just decided to lock it so it will not advance. And really doesn't make any difference. One other word of caution on this. You could take this piece out, turn it around 180 and put it back in, which means your timing will be 180 off. And the only way you discover it is when you set your top dead center, and this is on a 200S motor, and then go to where the spark is and make sure your magnet, right? Make sure your magnet is pointing right at this thing, like that. You might, after you go through that exercise, you might find it like this, and then you go, ooh. So remember to do that. Lobes down, your valves closed. Your timing marks, there are 2 timing marks on this thing. One is fire and one is T. One is T and one is F. You kind of adjust your flywheel to the F for the fire mark. And if you're looking at something like this, where the magnet is not up against there, you're 180 out. What you got to do is pull this out, right? Leave this piece in, or just take it apart and set it up once again, that it's like that. If you're not like that, you're sparking 180 out. Every time you pull on the string, it'll jerk back and threaten to tear your shoulder out. It's nasty. But back to parts. By the way, that little tutorial was for Fred here. There you go, Fred. So hopefully that helps. All you have to do is put springs between here. And by the way, if you can't get springs for whatever reason, if you just lock it like that, it will start, it'll run. It's just you won't be quite as perky up at high RPMs, because you won't have, your spark won't be advancing for you. But these things are getting harder and harder to come by. And I would show you one with springs, but I didn't want to tear apart engine, a working engine or anything, just to say, oh look, see, it's got springs in it. I could show you just as well on this thing. So once again, spring from there to there, and from there to there. And once again, when you take these apart, I think this one is put together properly. So you see the notch here, and you see the magnet there. Once again, see if we can't magnet and notch. I think we can show you them both, right? There you go. So I hope this helps. Anyway, so go visit Spencer and Baker ATV on eBay. Say hello to Fred for me. I hope this helps. A lot of things all in one video. So I hope this is good for you. Anyway, folks, I want to thank you all for watching and commenting and subscribing. I'd like to thank Spencer Baker for a good engine. He got it to me in really nice shape. I'm very happy with it. I want you all to keep your feet down, keep your heads up, and please get out there and enjoy all your days. Bye now, folks.